Hello everyone. So welcome to day 4 of our PYQ series. तो आज हम 60 to 80 questions करेंगे. I am Sai Krishna. I have secured rank 125 in CSE 2025. So let's without delay, let's go right into the task. So 61. Some rare earth elements are used in the manufacture of flat television screens and computer monitors. Yes, it is a moderate statement also. Some. And yes, we might have come across these flat television screens जो LCD screens है, LED screens है. Electronics में in general electronics में or any type of diodes and all these things, rare earth elements are instrumental. So and some rare earth elements have phosphorence properties also. Yes, this is also true. It's a moderate statement also. It's not all rare earth elements. I over analyzed this particular statement and have marked it as C, but it is A. If I'm giving prelims again, I would mark it as A only. So don't overthink. Just simple logic lagana. I say yes. That's how you can do it. 62. Indian Railways have prepared a national rail plan to create a future-ready railway system by 2028. And Germany के साथ collaboration and RFID tags. So see, if you know even one of these as correct, you can answer it right, because it is being asked which of the statements given above are not correct, है ना. तो RFID tags के साथ apparently RFID tags are being used. ये fact मेरे को नहीं पता था, which I was probably guessing. I thought it is correct. I thought it is wrong. तो मैंने 2 and 3 मार्क किया था. I thought 2028 इसमें तो UPSC won't test the candidates, but yeah, ये particular fact जानने से it becomes very easy question. So pay attention. Kavach system is in news very frequently during the last year because of the train accident. Repetitive train accidents हुए हैं in Odisha, in even I think in Bihar also. So this is an easy question if you know about this. So just keep your self open for any significant news and the background of such things. तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैं सही नहीं कर पाया था, बट या दिस इज़ हाउ यू डू इट राइट. 63. Axiom 4, SpaceX एंड गगनयान. ये तीनों स्पेस मिशंस है. दे आर दिस इज़ एक्सपेरिमेंटल एंड दिस इज़ द ह्यूमन स्पेस फ्लाइट, एंड दिस इज़ आई थिंक with the fair memory I have, it is the transporting mission for the astronauts to work in International Space Station, as far as I remember, or some other mission which obviously any human based space flight will help in microgravity research per se, and SpaceX was about the maneuvering of the satellites and all. So डॉकिंग मैकेनिज्म एंड ये सब थे. उसमें भी कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंटल मॉड्यूल्स लगा के लाइक माइक्रोग्राविटी रिसर्च ऑब्वियसली कैरी आउट किया जा सकता है. सो इट्स अ simple question without any overthinking. You can answer it right as all the three. So and I have answered it in the first round itself because it isn't complicated logic. So 64. I am not at all aware of any of these, but ये यूपीएससी ट्रेंड्स के हिसाब से ये ओनली 2 यूजुअली सही होता है ऐसे 3 ऑप्शंस में. सो ऐसे दिस वाज अ ब्लाइंड गेस एंड आई हैव आंसर्ड इट इन द थर्ड राउंड आल्सो. तो जनरली if you answer 5 of such questions in the entire 100 questions, 5 blind guesses लगाएंगे ऐसे ऑप्शंस में, इवन 2 भी सही होते हैं, it is +4 and minus 0.66 into 3, which amounts to -2.1 something. So it is net positive, nearly 2 marks you can score. तो ऐसे 5 guesses लगाएंगे तो भी तब भी. So yeah, you can attempt them if you are finding the total number of attempts of the questions as less than 95 90, मतलब जो भी आपका जनरल रेंज होता है उससे कम हो रहे हैं क्वेश्चंस, तो यू कैन अटेम्प्ट सच क्वेश्चंस इन सच मैनर, वरना छोड़ना इज ऑलवेज safer. Yeah. So next 65, the artificial way of causing rainfall to reduce. Yeah, it's a straightforward factual question, and I was very sure about this iodide nuclei being used as the hygroscopic nuclei in making the water collect around these molecules and get condensed and cause rainfall. So potassium nitrate is a explosive, as I remember. So there might be confusion only between A and C, because I am very sure about silver iodide, AgI. So it's a factual question. बहुत बार ये जियो इंजीनियरिंग मेथड्स के पार्ट में, इन्वायरमेंट में भी एंड जोग्राफी में भी ये प्रोमिनेंट टॉपिक है जो आर्टिफिशियल रेनफॉल है. तो या पे अटेंशन टू सच बेसिक्स. 66. Consider the following statements with regard to pattern. This is a straightforward question from Lakshmikant, and I could mark it correct by the virtue of revision that I have taken up. So even if you don't remember it correctly, yes, you can eliminate option 2. President can exercise this power without the advice of सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. इतना तो याद होगा हर किसी को कि प्रेसिडेंट के पास डिस्क्रिशन नहीं है, एटलीस्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डिस्क्रिशन तो है ही नहीं. देयर माइट बी सिचुएशनल डिस्क्रिशन इन वेरी स्पेसिफिक एंड एम्बिगुअस केसेस, बट जनरली देयर इज नो डिस्क्रिशन for the president that is prescribed by the constitution. He or she always acts on the advice of the council of ministers, right? And the exercise of this power can be subjected to limited judicial review. Yeah, this limited wala word is very prominent in this, because there are only limited set of grounds based on which the pardoning decision of president can be challenged. So yeah, this is straightforward question from Lakshmikant. The next, this is also a straightforward question from Lakshmikant, and the office of speaker becomes very important because it's a very important constitutional office, and as a well informed youth we are expected to know about the nature and the intricacies of this office of the speaker. So we are very well aware that on the dissolution of the house, house of the people, the speaker should not vacate his or her office until immediately before the first meeting of the house of the people after the dissolution. Generally वो power transfer जो नया speaker का election का date या कुछ address करके ही speaker steps down. So that's this is clearly correct. And after looking at the second option, it is very clear that 2 is wrong, and there is only one option in which the 2 is not mentioned. According to the provisions of the constitution, a member of the on being shall resign. There is no such provision in constitution, and neither it is a convention in India. But UK mein it is a convention as far as I remember. So it's a very easy answer, option C. So 68. If any question arises as to whether a member of the House of the People has become subject to disqualification, this is anti-defection law. It's not president decision. I think it's speaker's decision. And there are certain recommendations by some committees where president's decision is taken as the is being recommended to be a significant part of the anti-defection law, but that is not yet the part of the law itself. So there is no option 2. There is no mention of the word political party in the constitution. Initially I thought this is right. There is only party. There is no political party, and I have marked it as neither 1 or 2. But that पता नहीं कुछ because of some reason I have thought that political party might be included in some or the other sections like anti-defection law, or even related to the elections provisions. वो सब भी कहीं ना कहीं लिखा होगा. इट्स नॉट अ वेरी एम्बिगुअस वर्ड करके मैंने सोच के लिखा था, बट इनिशियल जो मेरा इंट्यूशन था वही सही था. सो डोंट ओवर थिंक ऑन द ऑप्शंस, ठीक है. देर इज़ अ 80-20 पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ, जहाँ पे 80% सिंपल परसेप्शन से आप एक सही ऑप्शन चुन सकते हैं, बट देर आर ओनली 20% चांसेस वेयर UPSC माइट by chance focus on any remote possibilities or ऐसे वियर्ड फैक्ट चेक करती है, जैसे ये 2028 है, इट इज़ आई थिंक 2030 इफ़ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग। तो ऐसे चीज़ों पे बहुत कम फोकस करती है यूपीएससी। जनरली तो एक जनरल अवेयरनेस ही टेस्ट करती है। सो फॉर द सेक ऑफ दिस 20 डोंट लेट गो दिस 80। तो ये ध्यान रखना, डोंट ओवर थिंक एंड incorporate simple thinking in choosing the options. 69. Statement 1. In India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of the extraction of minor minerals. Only minor minerals में ही state governments को है, major minerals में central government exercises this power. So I was sure about this. मैंने कहीं तो पढ़ा था. Even if you haven't read, there are certain important topics that you should revise from the polity Lakshmikant book before you go into the exam. You have one or 2 days left yet. So parliament, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, president, governor, federal provisions, जहाँ पे ये लिस्ट 1, लिस्ट 2, लिस्ट 3 सेंट्रल, स्टेट एंड कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट होंगे, वो लिस्ट्स प्रॉपरली एक मतलब 4-5 बार रिपीटेडली कभी ना कभी देखे होते, तो इट वुड बिकम क्लियर दैट माइनर मिनरल्स कम अंडर द स्टेट सब्जेक्ट. ठीक है. फेडरल प्रोविजंस एंड 73rd एंड 74th अमेंडमेंट. ठीक है. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाते हैं फॉर प्रीलिम्स. ठीक है. ये एक बार गो थ्रू. ठीक है. 3 hours से ज़्यादा नहीं लगेगा. So this was wrong, and there is only one option which has statement 1 was wrong. So it was an easy question for me because of awareness of these lists. Next 70. Which organization has enacted the nature restoration law to tackle climate change and biodiversity loss? ठीक है. There is the word law here. I was sure that it was European Union as a matter of fact when news में पढ़ा था कहीं. And it matches with the larger trend of green transition of European Union. जहाँ पे डिफॉरेस्टेशन लिमिटेशंस रखे गए हैं एंड कार्बन इंपोर्ट के ऊपर पेनल्टी रखा गया है, जो इंडियन स्टील इंडस्ट्रीज, फर्टिलाइजर्स इंडस्ट्रीज आर प्रोटेस्टिंग अगेंस्ट. तो ये एंड इट इज़ ए लॉ. ठीक है. इट्स ए लॉ. दीज 3 आर नॉट लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसीज. यूरोपियन यूनियन हैज़ द powers of legislation and enforcement mechanisms also. बाकी are these 3 are the voluntary organizations where membership is conditional. They don't generally enforce any rules by with the parlance of law. ठीक है. तो इसके हिसाब से it's a very easy guess that it's a European Union. So next, suppose the revenue this is an economics question, and this is the first time in my opinion where the calculations are being asked. So suppose the revenue expenditure is 80,000 crores and revenue, it's a basic definition of the revenue deficit, which is revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. A simple calculation है, one correct है. And even without just I was sure about the relation between fiscal deficit and primary deficit. Fiscal deficit is equal to primary deficit plus interest obligations. ठीक है. Interest paying obligations. Primary deficit is the present government's capability of financing its own expenses. Fiscal deficit is overall, जो including the past the loans and the interest burden that is a consequence of those loans. ठीक है. तो इस basic calculation से like if let's say this is correct, this is correct, let's say this is wrong, this becomes wrong because 600 crores is the interest payments. तो या तो ये दोनों सही हो सकते हैं या तो ये दोनों गलत हो सकते हैं. देर इज़ नो सच ऑप्शन जहाँ पे दोनों गलत हो सकते हैं. सो देर इज़ ओनली वन ऑप्शन वेयर now we know that 1 is right and 2 and 3 are right. Otherwise, if you are very sure about the definition of fiscal deficit, it is easy to calculate here. Yeah, just don't make mistakes in these questions which are low hanging fruits and which you should not be missing because they are easy. 72. India is one of the founding members of INSTC, a multimodal transportation corridor which will connect. It's a very straightforward and easy question from international relations. So INSTC intended to connect Central Asia through to Europe. India to Central Asia to Europe. That's a very important strategic project that India is planning and in the process of execution since a long while, although there are roadblocks. तो ये बहुत important चीज़ है. If you are generally curious youth, you should be aware of this thing. And it's an easy question. 73. Of the two major ethanol producers of the world, Brazil and United States of America, the former produces more ethanol than later. I had this confusion whether US ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस करता है या ब्राज़ील ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस करता है. आई स्टक टू माई इंट्यूशन ऑफ ब्राज़ील प्रोड्यूसेस मोर देन यूएस, विच टर्न्ड आउट टू बी रॉन्ग. तो अगर आपको ये वाला फैक्ट पता होगा तो आई थिंक इट इज़ वेरी इजी टू आंसर द क्वेश्चन, बिकॉज ऑप्शन डी इज़ द राइट आंसर. पर या हाउ डू वी cover these facts like these? न्यूज़पेपर में इथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन के बारे में, E20 फ्यूल इंडिया के जो इनिशिएटिव्स है उन सब के बारे में आर्टिकल्स कई सारे आएंगे. तो कहीं ना कहीं देर could have been a global comparison of मतलब how the other countries are faring in terms of the inclusion of ethanol blending in the fuel mix of the economy. तो ये न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा करो and just be aware of this larger picture facts. ठीक है. And if you are sure about this statement one, there is even no need of reading this. Unlike United States of America, where corn is the principal feedstock for ethanol production, sugarcane is, this is very easy to identify. Brazil is the leading producer of sugarcane. We are very sure about it. And the prairies are the extraordinary hosts of the corn cultivation. ठीक है. तो USA and Canada and even Mexico. तो which is why corn flour is a staple in their food, in their cuisine also. तो ये easy है. तो ये ranking इसके वजह से I made a mistake here, so I marked it wrong. तो yeah, be vigilant of such things. ठीक है. And logically, if I'm giving prelims again, I might mark it as wrong. I might be going right, because ranking में I think गड़बड़ कर सकती है UPSC. So this might be wrong ऐसे सोच के. Next, 74. World Bank warned that India could become one of the first places where wet bulb temperatures routinely exceed 35 degrees centigrade. We all know what wet bulb temperatures mean. It's high temperatures combined with high humidity levels, where after a certain point it becomes unsustainable for humans to spend more than 1 or 2 hours in such an ambient temperatures. Will suffer from dehydration, and hence that will worsen and sunstroke or even death happens. तो ये तो है, ठीक है. But look at the options. This becomes irrelevant when you look at the options closely and you are commonsensical enough to understand this. So peninsular India will likely suffer from flooding, tropical cyclones and droughts. Yes, we have seen this lower peninsular temperatures during winter. चेन्नई में स्वेटर पहनने लग गए लोग. And we had floods in Kerala, in Mumbai, in Chennai, even in Hyderabad, in the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh, ठीक है, ओडिशा. ये पूरा हो रहा है because of the excessive warming of the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea above the wet bulb temperatures. वो तो है. Irrespective of this thing, this can be marked as correct. So now looking at the second, it's a very simple statement. The survival of animals, including humans, will be affected as shedding of their body heat through perspiration becomes difficult. Yes, जब बाहर relative humidity, मतलब which is high relative humidity, which is a characteristic factor of wet bulb temperatures. High relative humidity in atmosphere, मतलब जितना उस पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर में एटमॉस्फेयर होल्ड कर सकती है वो लिमिट पे आ चुकी है ह्यूमिडिटी, द एक्सटेंट ऑफ वाटर वेपर इन द एटमॉस्फेयर. उस टाइम पे इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर द वाटर ऑन द सर्फेस ऑफ आवर बॉडीज टू गेट एवापरेटेड, विच विल रिलीज द लेटेंट हीट ऑफ वेपराइजेशन, जिसके वजह से बॉडीज कूल डाउन होते हैं. तो दैट इज़ परस्पिरेशन थ्रू स्वेटिंग एंड कूलिंग डाउन द बॉडी. ठीक है, तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं होता ड्यूरिंग वेट बल्ब टेम्परेचर्स, ठीक है, ये ध्यान रखना. इट्स अ वेरी बेसिक साइंस क्वेश्चन विथ सम अमाउंट ऑफ कॉमन सेंस you can answer this. Next 75, it's also a simple calculation. It's basically fiscal deficit is equal to primary deficit plus interest obligations, interest on borrowings. So it's a very simple calculation. I was about to make a silly mistake, no, but thankfully I didn't. So it became turned out to be option A. It's true, it's right. So 76, which of the following with regard to the recommendations of 15th FC of India are correct? ठीक है. It was a very interesting question for me. So it has recommended grants of 4,800 crores from the year 2022-23. So there is no chance that I'll be able to memorize, given I know what my limits. मैं ये memorize नहीं कर पाता. So I won't be judging option 1. मेरे को नहीं पता. 45% of net proceeds of the union taxes are to be shared with the states. I'm very sure that it is some 41%. ठीक है. 41 और 41 और 42, 41 से डिक्रीज होके 41 पे आया. एंड द रीज़न दैट गवर्नमेंट कोटेड फॉर दिस वाज द रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. तो this was a very well justified statement by the government of India and especially the finance commission. and जो ये फिगर पता है मेरे को, when 2 is right, 2 is wrong, so there is only one option in which 2 is wrong. See, and मतलब बाकी ऑप्शंस पढ़ने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. मतलब although I know 4 is right, I'm not sure about the third one. So this is how you can save time in the exam by being sure about some of the options which can solve the question immediately. So number 77, consider the following statements in respect of the World Bank. So it provides loans and guarantees to middle income countries. I think yes. It works single-handedly to help developing countries to reduce poverty. Single-handedly is the trap word here. So World Bank always collaborates with the domestic fundraising fund facilities like ministries or even NGOs or government organizations like Niti Aayog or anything. Collaborates, gives a percentage of total demanded expenses and sends its officials to ensure the financial propriety, that the funds are properly used or not, what is the standards and quality of implementation of the agenda that is quoted as a part of the scheme or initiative. तो वैसे करके वर्ल्ड बैंक करती है, कोलैबोरेट करती है, नॉट इट डजेंट डू सिंगल हैंडेडली. नेदर इज इट द ओनली international body which is involved in reducing poverty. There are others, International Labour Organization, UNICEF, UNESCO, there are many others. So option 2 is clearly wrong. So it was easy for me to figure out that option C is the right answer. तो ये कॉमन सेंस एंड जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन से हो गया. मतलब ये वर्ल्ड बैंक के वेबसाइट, ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट पे जाके उनका पूरा व्हाट टू से मेमोरेंडम ऑफ प्रोसीजर, उनका पूरा मैंडेट्स पूरा पढ़ने की ज़रूरत है ही नहीं. तो इट्स जस्ट सिंपल ऑब्जर्वेशन ऑफ and because of the options it becomes much easier to answer this question. So next 78, consider the following statements in respect of RTGS and NEFT. In RTGS the settlement time is instantaneous, while in case of NEFT it takes some time to settle payments. I think it is right. I'm not very sure about it. In RTGS the customer is charged for inward transactions, while that is not the case for NEFT. So I haven't come across many payment mechanisms where the customer who is receiving the money is being charged. हमेशा हम पेमेंट करते हैं तो लेट्स से क्रेडिट कार्ड पेमेंट, सो ये जो फीस होता है, एक्स्ट्रा फीस, कन्वीनियंस फीस एक्सेट्रा, जो पे कर रहा है द सेंडर, द आउटवर्ड ट्रांजैक्शन, उधर ही चार्ज किया जाता है, नॉट ऑन द साइड ऑफ द रिसीवर. तो दिस अपीयर्स टू बी रॉन्ग. Operating hours for RTGS are restricted on certain days, while this is not true. This is again the experience, general awareness, generally aware. अगर आप कभी notice किए हो तो when you make a the money transfer using bank accounts, तो कभी कभी संडेज़ को या लेट नाइट्स को आपको ये ऑप्शन दिया जाता है कि RTGS इज़ फंक्शनल, वुड यू लाइक टू गो अहेड, NEFT इज़ करेंटली नॉट अवेलेबल. सो ऐसे मैसेजेस मैंने देखा, बट नॉट द अदर वे राउंड. कभी नहीं देखा मैंने कि NEFT अवेलेबल है एंड RTGS अवेलेबल नहीं है. तो ऐसे एक जनरल अवेयरनेस, आउट ऑफ जनरल क्यूरियासिटी में लेके इन दो ऑप्शंस को एलिमिनेट कर पाया मैं, एंड विथ सर्टेन डिग्री ऑफ सर्टेनिटी, एंड इट टर्न्ड आउट टू बी राइट. ऑप्शन ये इज द राइट आंसर. सो बी ओपन ड्यूरिंग द एग्जाम, मतलब not limited to what you have prepared, whatever the books you have read, whatever the material that you have come across, उनमें लिमिट करके सोचना मत. जनरल अवेयरनेस, कॉमन सेंस मस्त खुल के यूज़ कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज UPSC wants to test exactly those aspects, the generally well aware youth, not someone who would uh, uh, score a perfect 100 from the material he or she has read. ठीक है. Number 79. UAE, France, Germany, Singapore, Bangladesh. How many countries among the above are there other than India where international merchant payments are accepted under UPI? Yeah, this is a question of national pride. If you are a true Indian, you will know about this fact. मतलब recently UAE, France and Singapore में recently UPI was introduced as a valid payment method. ठीक है. Germany and Bangladesh haven't yet done that. Germany might be looking forward to doing it because of the recent uptick in the relations. And Bangladesh के साथ तो अभी है नहीं वो हालात. तो yeah, it's a very as a matter of fact, I know that these three are providing UPI as a valid payment, merchant payments accepted condition में. तो it's a straightforward क्वेश्चन फॉर मी एंड इट्स एन ईजी क्वेश्चन फॉर मी. तो आप ऐसी चीज़ों के लिए इट्स एन इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्ट टू नो. ठीक है. एज ए वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड यूथ आपको पता रहना चाहिए. मतलब UPI इज़ ए वेरी एग्जाम्पलरी पब्लिक गुड, पब्लिक फाइनेंशियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है. ठीक है. तो वो हाउ इंडिया का एक एडवोकेसी है फॉर द पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. एक UPI इज़ अ सक्सेस स्टोरी ऑफ इंडिया, तो विच इज़ बीइंग अडॉप्टेड एंड अपना रहे हैं. द फॉरेन कंट्रीज आर लुकिंग एट इट एज अ केस स्टडी. तो नोइंग दिस फैक्ट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ टुडे, नंबर 80. Consider the following statements about PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. It targets installation of 1 crore solar rooftops in the residential sectors. I remember 1 lakh by 2030. मतलब ओवरऑल 1 crore है या नहीं ये मुझे याद नहीं था. सो I just since the year is not mentioned here with a simple thinking and logic, मैंने सोचा ये ठीक है. MNRE aims to impart training on installation, operation and maintenance. Yes, this is true. Again, I have mentioned about the Rashtriya Gokul Mission, the National Livestock Mission also, जहाँ पे figures weren't the prominent things. It's the essence of the scheme. What is the objective that the government is aiming to meet by implementing that particular scheme? वो information, वो essence grasp करना important हो जाता है when it comes to schemes. Even if you don't mug up the figures, the aims and objectives in terms of the achievements, वो सब mug up नहीं करेंगे, scheme को समझेंगे तो भी ऐसी चीज़ें आंसर कर सकते हैं. राइट. तो इधर भी वही हिसाब है. इट एम्स टू क्रिएट मोर देन 3 lakhs स्किल्ड मैन पावर थ्रू फ्रेश स्किलिंग एंड अपस्किलिंग अंडर स्कीम कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग. यस, दीज टू आर राइट. आई वाज श्योर अबाउट दीज टू एंड आई थॉट यस, ये मेरा 50-50% probability से आई चोजन ऑप्शन डी बिकॉज ऑफ माई इंट्यूशन सेइंग यस, दिस माइट बी अ गुड अमाउंट, गुड number of installations to aim at. So I marked it as D and it turned out to be correct, I guess. Let me check. Yes, 80 option D is right. So yeah, this is how this is the end of today's video. We have 20 more questions to cover, and meanwhile keep revising, and अभी ऐसा चेकलिस्ट कुछ मत रखना कि ये ख़त्म करके जाना एग्ज़ाम में. जस्ट बी सेन, अपना मेंटल कामनेस रखना, माइंडसेट सही रखना कि मतलब एवरीवन कम्स a bit of under prepared and a bit of over prepared. There is no specific set of things to check off your list. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है इस एग्ज़ाम के लिए. Just whatever the knowledge and whatever the mindset you are going with on the exam day, be sure to be calm in those 2 hours to ensure the maximum memory recall and better logical reasoning application. ठीक है, all the best.